So Declan Doyle is no longer a Chicago Bear. He's with the Baltimore Ravens. So what does that mean for the Chicago Bears? Well, it means a few things. One, it definitely means that we will have a new offensive coordinator next year. So let's go through the timeline. There's two guys that are in Halas Hall today that I think could take over that offensive coordinator position. And then there's two guys from the outside that whether they become the offensive coordinator or not, I think that they're guys that we definitely need to bring into Halas Hall. And I guarantee that you've already heard about them. They've been kind of flutters of them in the background for the last 2 weeks. So let's get into it. First, Declan Doyle. He went from Philly where he withdrew his name on January 26th. There was some kind of conversation. Was it the Eagles? Was it Declan? Who was at fault there or who was in charge of that conversation? Who cares? Either way, he withdrew his name on January 26th, initially signaling that he was coming back to Chicago and that we didn't have to worry about a new offensive coordinator. But then the new threat emerged, and that was the Baltimore Ravens. He would have the chance to coach Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, and then whoever else they bring in. This would leave a massive void at the offensive coordinator position, even though you say that Ben Johnson calls all the plays, and he will as long as he's with the Bears. But Declan Doyle was very much the guy Monday through Friday, prepping the offense and getting them ready. So, two guys at Halas Hall right now that could potentially be the new offensive coordinator, JT Barrett and Antwaan Randle El. Those are two guys that JT Barrett, anytime we come back from commercial and you see Caleb Williams with the tablet on the sideline, he's talking to JT Barrett. He's always in Caleb Williams' ear. The other guy, Antwaan Randle El, he's the heart and soul of that offense. He's the one that's getting the guys ready as they're running out of the tunnel. He's the energy. But then there's two guys. There's two other guys that we really haven't talked too much about, but they have been talking about them a little bit. So let's get into it. The first guy is Will Lawing, and this was the sneaky addition. This happened on January 20th, and I don't know if you were paying attention when this happened, but I forget exactly who it was, but it felt like Boston College said that Will Lawing is leaving Boston College with hopes to go to the Chicago Bears. Now, there was some kind of rumors that were coming out that he was officially hired by the Bears, and I don't see anything that officially says that, but his background is most recently he was the offensive coordinator for Boston College under Bill O'Brien, and he's part of that Bill O'Brien tree. But as you can see above my head over here, he played with Ben Johnson when they were at North Carolina. Ben Johnson was a quarterback. Will Lawing was a wide receiver. Lawing brings a pro-style veteran presence from the Bill O'Brien coaching tree, if you want to call it that. Coached with him at the Texans, Alabama, and the Patriots, and he will help diversify the Bears passing game. So again, it's like, does JT Barrett get the bump up? And then does Will Lawing fill in? And now is he in Caleb Williams' ear? I feel like personally, I want JT Barrett to stick with Caleb Williams one more year. You know, I could see Antwaan Randle El hopping up and maybe Will Lawing filling in as the wide receiver coach under Ben Johnson. Now, this next guy, Tanner Engstrand, this guy just is a no-brainer for me. The only reason that I would say, like, let's not go with him is because maybe you want Antwaan Randle El to come up. So he worked directly under Ben Johnson in Detroit from 2020 to 2024 as the passing game coordinator. Again, another passing guy. So JT Barrett could get that offensive coordinator leap. That would make a lot of sense. Again, there's not that pressure that JT Barrett has to come up with a new book. So that's all on Ben Johnson. And he's a psycho, and he wants that. He'll come up with a new playbook. You know, how many installations did we go through last offseason? And I wonder how many we even used or how many new ones we got to by week 20, So recently Tanner got absolutely screwed. When Ben Johnson left, instead of like hopping to offensive coordinator there, and I don't know if there was the job there for Tanner, but he went with Aaron Glenn to the Jets. And so they went there, and he absolutely failed. And whether or not he failed on his own, I mean, he had a pretty bad quarterback situation. The Jets are a pretty bad franchise. I mean, the Bears should know we were that franchise last year. Before the season started, that was our franchise, you know? But Tanner got absolutely screwed in New York, and he has an opportunity now to come to Chicago. Now, I don't know if they're offering this to him yet, but he would be a perfect fit. He's the insurance policy. Doyle's gone. Engstrand is the logical choice to step in, as he already knows Johnson's scheme, terminology, and philosophy inside and out. And this would be such a home run for Ben Johnson on this one, because, you know, he gets a guy that was under him. There's no love lost. There's no like language barrier there. They know exactly what each other is talking about. It would be really nice to have him back in the building, or for the first time, Halas Hall. So that's the 2026 offensive outlook. We're building a room of coordinators. The goal is to create a collaborative genius environment where Caleb Williams is surrounded by 3 former OCs, Johnson, Lawing, and potentially Engstrand. Staff continuity, despite the coaching attempts to be pulled. Johnson is pivoting. He can attract top talent, although there's about 30 coaches that were on the market and now they're off the market. So, you know, we still need to figure that out. But yeah, that's what it is right now. We've got Lawing, Engstrand, we've got JT Barrett, and we've got Antoine Randall. All 4 guys to keep an eye on. As always, I'm Bears Buddy. Bear down.